Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jen Trepic, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we're talking about walnuts. So if you're a longtime listener, you're probably as shocked as I am that we haven't done a nutrition nugget on walnuts yet. But nevertheless, here we are. We haven't, so we're going to do it now. We'll talk about what they give us nutritionally, and then we can discuss some of the research and the health benefits. So in 1 ounce of walnuts, which is about 14 halves, a small handful, we get 185 calories, 18.5 grams of fat, 4.3 grams of protein, 3.9 grams of carbs, of which it's 1.9 grams of fiber and 0.7 grams of sugar. So essentially, walnuts are about 65% fat. But the kind of fat is where we see the difference between walnuts and other, high calorie or calorically dense foods. So walnuts are relatively high in omega-3 fats. Specifically, it's alpha-linolenic acid, ALA. Interesting, walnuts are the only nuts that contain significant amounts of ALA. And ALA is a precursor to longer chain omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA. Now, it's EPA and DHA that have been linked to health benefits through the brain and the heart and things like that. So ALA is a precursor to that. And then walnuts also have an omega-6 fatty acid called linoleic acid. And we don't really need more omega-6s. You can go back to our nutrition nugget on omega-3s for more on that. But let's keep going with walnuts here. So with the macronutrients, it's interesting to note that walnuts may help with appetite regulation. So a small study from 2019 looked at people with obesity who had a smoothie made with 1.75 ounces of walnuts every day for 5 days. They saw decrease in hunger and appetite compared to the placebo group that had a smoothie of equal calories. What's more, they saw that after the 5 days of consuming the walnut smoothies, brain scans showed participants had increased activation in areas of the brain that helped them resist highly tempting food cues like cake and French fries. So interesting there on what can happen when we have these nutrients. On the micronutrient front, walnuts give us copper, folic acid, which is B9, phosphorus, vitamin B6, manganese, and vitamin E. Plus, walnuts also contain antioxidants. So we have a nutrition nugget on antioxidants that you can go back to. A little fun fact. So there was a study published in 2006 where they looked at the antioxidant content of 1,113 foods that are commonly eaten in the United States. Walnuts ranked number 2. So very nutrient dense and, these antioxidants. Walnuts give us ellagic acid, catechins, phytic acid. Also a buzzword these days that can also act like an antioxidant is melatonin. So walnuts also contain melatonin, which can support our body's clock, our mood, our gut health, lots of things. So with all this together, the macro and the micronutrients, we see benefits for blood sugar. A 2016 study looked at 100 people with type 2 diabetes. So not a huge study, but 100 people with type 2 diabetes. The researchers gave them a tablespoon of cold-pressed walnut oil per day for 3 months while continuing their usual diabetes medication, balanced diet, as they called it. I didn't really go into detail on what that was. The researchers saw an 8% decrease in fasting blood sugar and about an 8% decrease in hemoglobin A1C, which is like our 3-month average of blood sugar. Fitting for February, right? We also think of walnuts for heart health. So this is likely connected to the antioxidant content and those omega-3s. There was a study published in 2022 that looked at healthy adults over age 60 They were eating a walnut-rich meal. So the participants who ate the walnut-rich meal reduced their levels of LDL cholesterol compared to those who didn't. There was a small study published in 2019 that suggests that eating walnuts may help lower blood pressure, and that included people with high blood pressure, not just people who were otherwise well. A 2013 clinical trial found that people who added walnuts to their nutrition improved the health of their blood vessels. So there's a piece of this, there's something called cholesterol efflux, which is the process where the body removes excess cholesterol from blood vessels. And it seems that walnuts improve that as well. There was also a study that was interesting to me. So it was published in 2018. The researchers looked at over 200,000 participants and followed them over 25 years. Okay. None of the participants had heart disease at the start of the study. At the end, about 14,000 of the participants experienced what they call a coronary event. So that might be heart attack or stroke. Those who ate at least one serving of walnuts per week had a 13 to 26% lower risk of heart disease. So walnuts for heart health, for sure. And then we can also think of walnuts for digestive health. So eating walnuts may be one way to support the microbiome, the microbiota, right? Like all the bugs in your gut. A 2018 study on 194 healthy adults ate 1.5 ounces of walnuts every day for 8 weeks. At the end, they showed an increase in beneficial bacteria compared to the people not eating walnuts. And this included increase in bacteria that produce butyrate. So I think we've talked about butyrate before. It nourishes the gut. It's a powerful postbiotic. And this could all be a function of the fiber in the walnuts. Remember, it was 1.9 grams of fiber. This could also be connected to the antioxidants and lots of health benefits. You might hear people say that walnuts look like a brain, both when they're in their shell and, even once you crack them. And it's true. And so this reminds people to think about walnuts for their brain health. Animal and human studies suggest that both the nutrients and antioxidants in walnuts can help reduce oxidative stress and inflammation by reducing free radicals. There was a 2016 mouse study that suggests walnut extract may improve symptoms of Parkinson's disease. Other studies on mice linked walnuts to better brain function, which included memory, learning skills, motor development, and anxiety-related behavior. A 2019 study on humans saw people with depression show improvement in symptoms if nuts, including walnuts, were part of their nutrition. Then another one worth noting here was a 2014 study. They kind of looked at a whole bunch of studies and concluded that walnuts are recommended as a prevention strategy against cognitive decline and dementia. So again, I think this is related to the omega-3s and the antioxidants, and we can see, that activity in the brain. And essentially, all of that is really similar along the inflammation lines. So there's research that shows walnuts have anti-inflammatory properties and cancer support. So again, I think this goes back to those antioxidants. And this is sort of interesting. There's anti-cancer activity with a lot of walnuts, in particular black walnuts. And there was an interesting thing. So some of this, there's an antioxidant called urolithins that are a byproduct in the gut from the antioxidants in walnuts. And they may have hormone-like properties that may enable them to block hormone receptors in the body. So there's some research that this may help reduce your risk of hormone-related cancers. So think like breast cancer and prostate cancer. And I think, we certainly need more human studies, but it's really interesting. One last little fun fact for everybody out there, eating walnuts may support sperm health and male fertility too. So all in, walnuts sound like a great option, right? Personally, for myself, I find them to be way more satisfying than other nuts. People are always concerned about portions. And so as I often say, we didn't get here because of too many walnuts, right? So the first piece is just take a deep breath. If we're in a place of counting walnuts, right? We're in a great spot and we've made lots of progress. Still, though, I hear you. So a serving size of walnuts, like all nuts, is really about a small handful, right? So for walnuts, it's like 12 to 14 halves or pieces, a small handful there. I love them as a snack with berries or apples or stone fruit in the summer. I find them to be the perfect, salty balance to sweet fruit. You can also put them on salads. You could mix them into anything for a bit of crunch and flavor. You can crush them up and use them as the crust on chicken or fish or, any kind of protein, even tofu, it would work. Certainly you can add them to yogurt and chia pudding. And if you do oatmeal, if you make chicken or tuna salad, you could chop them up and add them into that. Honestly, add them to a stir fry, anything, walnuts work. I would just say be careful with cooking them, right? We don't want to heat them too much and damage the healthy fats. Walnut oil, you can buy, it's a little on the expensive side. And again, we don't want to heat it. So use that for something like salad dressing or finishing oil. And walnut butter also exists. It's also a little bit more expensive than some of your other nut butters, but it might be super delicious. So Torkil, anything you want to add? Any questions about walnuts?
I think it's a lovely presentation, and it further motivates me to eat more walnuts. I eat a lot of nuts and also walnuts, so it's a good thing. And the good thing about walnuts is that, there's the protection from the nut is on the outside from the nut itself. So there's not so many kind of protections against, what would eat them from the nuts. So it's a good way to get the nutrition and all the values that you're talking about there. So it's really a power pack of a healthy food. So I'm happy that I eat a lot of nuts and walnuts. So it's really important.
Yeah, love walnuts. And that's the scoop on walnuts, friends. Think of them for heart health, brain health, gut health, blood sugar balance, and so much more. Well, as always, everybody, I'm your health coach and host, Jen Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jen Trepeck, JenNTrepeck. Website is asaladwithasideofries.com. Pick your platform, send a message. Hearing your takeaways, your ideas, your questions is honestly my favorite thing. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. Torkil Farrow, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for letting me be on your show. Thank you.
Absolutely. And friends, if you are not already, join our membership by going to glow.fm/saladwithasideofries. This shows your support for this podcast, this community, and most importantly, it supports your health. Plus, you'll get this week's recipe for the healthy breakfast bowls in honor of February being National Hot Breakfast Month. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.